All right, guys, welcome to the first step in effectively running the run and gun offense. Okay. In this playbook, we need to have a few things to really make it tick, to really make it work smoothly like a well-oiled machine. And I'm going to go over what I currently use and also what the other possible cocktail of abilities are that you can use in order to make this playbook really effective. Now, this is my Mutt roster. I am not Mutt rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have a roster that is focused around specifically running the run and gun playbook, the strong close, the under center type stuff. All right. And it might surprise you as to what I use. It's not all running, well, most of it, in fact, is not a lot of running abilities. But I'm going to start quickly with the most important position, I think, in this game plan, and pretty much any game plan. I always think it's the quarterback. Okay. I'm using Josh Allen right now. And why are we using Josh Allen? Well, Gunslinger is really effective this year. If you're a passer, you know that you can get different pass leads. You can fit in passes in different spots. Short, medium, long range throws. They're all, you get different animations. You can lead the ball better. So I think Gunslinger is extremely important. The reason we're using Josh Allen over somebody like Favre is because Josh Allen has a little bit of speed. And in this playbook, there are opportunities to utilize the quarterback's legs. So if you're not a gunslinger type guy, have no fear. You can run your Lamar Jacksons, Michael Vicks with Fastbreak or Escape Artist or whatever and still be effective in this playbook. And I'm going to show you how. But if you also, for example, wanted to use a slower guy like Favre, or even maybe a Joe Montana with Hot Route Master, that's totally up to you. And the reason I mentioned Hot Route Master is because we do need a couple of additional hot routes in order to make this offense the most effective. The next position that we want to talk about is going to be our halfback. Now, I use Reggie Bush simply because he gets Backfield Master. He can get the extra hot routes. Now, if you're going to go ahead and use a Hot Route Master, use whatever halfback you want. I think probably, I would say the best type of running back, if you're going to use the Hot Route Master, would be somebody that's really effective inside the tackles, because a lot of these runs do occur inside the box, going right at people. You're going to want a guy that kind of falls forward. Bo Jackson comes to mind when you think about that. Maybe Edgerrin James, guys like that. The next position that I have an ability on that I think is very critical is one of your wide receivers should have slot apprentice if you're not running hot route master. I use Reggie Wayne. There's a plethora of guys that have the route running archetype that you can put into this spot. You just want to make sure that they have the medium and deep route running that break the thresholds. And I believe the thresholds are 90 for all pro. Because that'll be important in getting open against man coverage, obviously. It's not like previous years where you can just throw fast guys all out on the field and expect them to beat man coverage. You really have to think about the type of routes that you run, the depth of the depth of the routes, the coverages you're typically facing, things like that. So you have to be really careful and selective the personnel you put on the field. So I use Reggie Wayne with Slot Apprentice, and I also put the route technician on him because he runs a lot of corner routes, runs a lot of short to medium routes that I need separation on quickly. You don't have to necessarily use the route tech. I use it because I just feel safer with it there. The next receiver that I'm going to look at is, you need to have a guy that can take the top off the defense. And there's actually, I personally believe in, and you may hear different theories from other people that play the game, but I think there's two ways to take the top off the defense, and it's not just speed. Terry McLaurin, who I'm using right now because he's one of the fastest wide receivers in the entire game. I have him running posts, streaks. Pretty much that's it. That's what Terry McLaurin runs. He takes the top off the defense, keeps them honest. But the other thing that I've tested out and that I really like are big receivers with some speed, like Carmichael. I believe Carmichael in this offense can be really effective if you put the deep in elite on him because of his height, he'll get the better animations on the posts and the streaks inside the numbers, and he'll be able to, you know, win those aggressive catches one-on-one, because you know a lot of people are taking the safeties away nowadays, putting them in purples, things like that. Carmichael could be another option for you, even a Brian Finner, and even though he's not that fast, just think about that as well. You could do maybe a Julio Jones. It doesn't necessarily have to be the fastest guy in the world, but if you're going to go with height, I really like the deep end elite. I've been told that it doesn't matter what height they are if they have that, but I just feel more comfortable with tall receivers throwing those one-on-one, you know, aggressive catches against man coverage. So what do we have so far? Quick recap. We want a quarterback. Typically, you want a quarterback that's either a hot route master or has some wheels. Gunslinger is preferred. If you're not using hot route master, Backfield Master. Slot Apprentice on this receiver here. Fast guy to take the top off the defense. Now, I like to have two different tight ends because we run a lot of ace personnel. It depends on how you're going to run this playbook. Do you plan on utilizing the other under center formations like the I-form twins, the pistol? If you do plan on using that, then you need to have a decent fullback. I don't really like putting halfbacks at fullback because they do miss more blocks. Not that fullbacks by any means are like fantastic at locating blocks, because there's not. But in order to have a really effective ground game, if we're really going to pound the rock, I do like to have a fullback that has good impact block and good lead block. If you don't plan on using those formations and you plan on passing a lot, then get yourself two good tight ends. Don't worry about this fullback. Just throw your other tight end at fullback and you're good. I use Shannon Sharp and Jared Cook because they have good short and medium route running, and Shannon Sharp can run block. Offensive line, I'm not going to get there into what stats they should have. Offensive line is really just, you know, a shuffle of, you know, whoever you want to get. But I'm just going to give you some ideas on the abilities that I use. The center, I'll use post up because a lot of times the center is involved in double team blocks, and post up makes his wins in double team blocks dominant. A lot of people are running 3 down lineman sets, which means there's a nose guard, which means that either the left guard or the right guard is typically going to help out the center and he'll blow him off the ball. I use edge protector over here, and I think I'm using edge protector over here too, but I did toy with using post up over here for running stretch. I don't think it really matters a ton for your tackles. You could definitely do two edge protectors and feel pretty comfortable with that. But that's pretty much the basis. We don't run a lot of 3 wide receiver from this playbook, but if you do want to have another fast guy like a Calico just kind of stashed away, for, you know, for the situations where you do need to pass like that, of course, keep him as well. That's pretty much it. That's the personnel that I run. I will write in the description the different types of abilities and kind of the different type of mixtures that you should be using in order to make this playbook most effective. But that's what I run on Mutt, guys. I hope this helps out. Go ahead and check out the next part of the video where we finally start breaking down the strong close, our bread and butter.